This episode is supported by FX's The Shards, a seductive drama from executive producer Ryan Murphy. Set in 1980s Los Angeles, the series follows a group of glamorous, deeply entangled high school seniors drawn to a life of wealth, beauty, parties, and excess. At its center is Brett, whose reality begins to unravel when the arrival of a new student coincides with a series of mysterious murders. FX's The Shards premieres August 5th on FX and Hulu. These long dog days of summer, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to, probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. You know what's really terrifying? That unfinished college degree lurking in the background, just sitting there waiting for you. That's where Southern New Hampshire University comes in. With flexible online degree programs, there's no commuting, no rigid schedule, and no more excuses. Plus, they have some of the lowest online tuition rates in the U.S. Visit snhu.edu/morbid to learn more before your degree becomes just another story about what could have been.
Hey, weirdos, I'm Ash.
And I'm Elena.
And this is Morbid.
This is Morbid.
What's up, Big Red?
Everybody, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
We got exposed to COVID.
We sure fucking did. We had
And
a COVID
everybody,
outbreak in the office.
Yeah, there's a lot of nasty things still going around right now. So wear your masks if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, you should.
And be careful out there.
Yeah.
I feel
wash
like
your fucking hands.
Yeah, wash your goddamn
hands.
hands.
If more people just washed their fucking hands,
we'd be in much better shape.
Like, I'm not even getting into it.
It's true. Just wash your hands, It's how, the Black Plague started.
Exactly. It washes its hands or it spreads disease again.
Exactly. I have that sign in one of my bathrooms.
That's where I got it from.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's still a lot going on in the world. They still have not located Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy.
I know.
And there's a lot of stuff happening in the case, but also none at all. It's very, very wild. It's just a very interesting situation, and it's really sad. Yeah. So I just can't stop looking for updates.
I feel so bad for that family, and I hope that there's a good update soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. I keep looking, being like, oh, please tell me that something happened here.
Also, just give them answers, because it must be hell.
Again,
not
helpless
having any
feeling.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I'm trying to think of anything else that I can offer as a fun. Oh, there's more signed editions of The Butcher Legacy that were just added. We initially had a big chunk at Barnes & Noble of signed editions of The Butcher Legacy.
Nice.
You guys gobbled them up, and then people said, hey, I didn't get one.
And Elena said,
And
I'll
I'm sad
sign
about
more.
it. And I said, girl, I got you.
She said, honey.
I said, give me more to sign. So I got more to sign.
She said, what's a wrist?
Yeah, what's a wrist?
She said, arthritis? Never heard of her.
Yeah.
Carpal tunnel? What's that?
Who knows? And I did see a couple of people were asking, are these really hand signed, or are they printed?
No, they're
I
hand
guess,
signed.
which would be like a big bummer. They're hand signed. I promise you that.
I feel does that happen a lot?
I don't know. When I got the question, I was like, do people do that?
I wouldn't think so.
You just get like a
that would
printed
be
version?
kind of less cool.
It'd be kind of a bummer, I feel. But no, these are hand signed. I have a box literally right next to me right now.
I can attest. I watch her sign many
Yeah.
tippins a day.
And I'm signing whenever I can. So go gobble those up. You can pre-order them now. The book comes out August 11th.
Gobble them up.
But pre-order now so you can get your signed copy because I love you and I want you to have your signed copy.
Hell yeah,
Okay.
brother.
And you know what? If you don't want the signed copy or if they run out, go get a regular copy.
Just get you any
Go
copy
get
that you
pre-order.
can.
You can go to butcherlegacy.com and you can pick where you can get it.
Pre-order.
Indie stores are great.
Yeah.
All that great stuff.
Everything is great. Just make sure you get a copy.
Yeah, just get a copy. Pre-order that
Or else you'll feel left out because everybody listening to this mostly probably has a copy.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you don't have a copy yet,
You don't wanna be
that's
left out.
That's a little bit of a letdown for
It
you.
is.
You might not know what happens.
And we don't want that for
And
you.
you know it's not too late to buy all three.
It's true. It's not too late.
So
You can always buy all three.
you can you have free will.
Yeah.
You can buy all three.
It's a great use of free will.
It
I would
is.
say. Adult money, you got it. Use it.
Adult money
This
is
is
the
what
best.
you use it with.
I
You
do
can't take it
crazy
with
shit.
you. So
I always think that whenever I buy something crazy, I go, can't take it with me.
can't take it with me.
Can't take it with me.
But I can take this book with me.
Yeah.
You can.
Hell
You
yeah.
Put it in your back pocket, in fact.
I went to Barnes and Noble the other day and I got reckless up in there.
Hell yeah.
I bought every book that Emily Henry has to offer.
You went into a flow state.
I went into a flow state.
You went into a flow state.
I got this book Bunny that
I've
seen-
heard a lot about that book.
I have seen everybody raving
Yeah.
about that book and I've been wanting to get it and I like always look at it and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I bought it.
Yes.
I bought
as you
it.
should.
But first, I'm rereading The Butcher and the Wren, and
Hell
I'm
yeah.
going to reread The Butcher Game.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to read for the first time Butcher Legacy, and that's my reading list right now. And then I'm going to definitely need to go back to A Place of Romance.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like a palate cleanser. But in my goal, I got them for both of us actually.
Hell yeah.
Hold on. I got these little
books.
book counter things. And
Oh, yes.
they come with 4 little cubes. And I'm like, who's reading 1,000 books
Thank
in a
you.
year?
I was like, who gets to 4 digits?
I was like, if you're getting to 4 digits, tell me
Yeah.
your secrets.
Tell me how you do it.
But hold on, let me get to my delivered tab over here. But yeah, and you can get these little like charms, quote unquote, with
Yeah.
them. So I got Elena a ghost and a candlestick.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And I got myself a little teacup and a candle. It was
Yay.
really cute. So
They're adorable.
let me find where I got them on the TikTok shop. I'll send Mikey the link too.
Yeah,
to put
we
in the
can
show
link it.
notes.
Because it is
Bye.
a fun little way to count.
I buy so much on the TikTok shop. It's really
The
sickening.
TikTok shop has me in a chokehold.
Same.
A true chokehold.
Same. Oh my god. Okay, so they're elegant designs, but the E in elegant, the first E is a 3.
Oh, there
And they're
you
a silver star seller.
go. Oh my God.
So yeah, I'll give this to Mikey to put in the show notes and get you a book counter because it's fun. And my goal for this year is to read 2 books a month.
I think that's a good goal.
Yeah, I'm trying. And if I can do more, I'll do more.
Yeah, just at least.
But in January, I read 2.
I need to get on my shit. I just haven't had a lot of time to because.
Well, you also write the books, so it's hard to read the books and write the
It
books.
is hard to read, but it's necessary. as
and
well
raise
to
the
read
kids
books.
and write the morbids and say the morbids. It's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
There is.
And I've been going through like final edits and all that. So I think that now that I'm through that,
Now
I
you
can
can
finally leisurely read. But I'm still making my way through Phantasma.
There you go.
And I still love it. I'm still having so much fun with that book. I really
Nice.
Kaylee
Smith.
fun fucking book.
I'll add that to my TBR.
Fun book. It really I was like, wow, I want more books like this.
I wanted to spend even more time in Barnes and Noble last weekend, but there were so many people there. I went on a Saturday.
Fuck that. That's your problem.
I didn't think about it at
Yeah.
all. And then I got there and I'm sorry, there was a lot of kids there and I was like, shut the fuck up.
No, you got to go if you can get there during the week.
And I can.
That's A plus.
I can.
Or at night.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Nighttime Barnes and Noble is lovely.
I went a few weeks ago just after Christmas on like a weeknight. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was
that's
beautiful.
That's really where it's at.
Yeah.
And there's really no way that I can segue from that beautiful discussion of one of my favorite things in the world, which is books,
Yeah.
to Dennis Nilsen.
I couldn't really think of a good one either, but we did it.
Because
Here we are.
Here we are. We're back. We're back to Dennis Nilsen.
She says this is going to be the worst part.
This is going to be rough. The second, because we're going to do this in 3 parts. In the third part, you're going to be like, yay, because
I
he gets
got
caught.
a message from a UK listener, and they were like, you said this is going to be a 3-part series. And I was like, no, this is going to be a 3-parter.
A 3-part.
And they were like, in my worst Boston accent, I
love
said,
that.
no.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so proper about
I
it.
know.
It's going to be a 3-parter, kid.
Hey.
And in part 2, we're going deep into the depths of the most hellish shit you can possibly think of. So
Word up. Let me get my fucking hazmat suit on.
yeah, everybody get ready. But don't worry, because I'm going to follow it with part 3, which is going to give us some more hellish shit. But it's also then going to end with some justice.
We love justice.
So we need that. So we left you with Dennis beginning his killing spree. He had finally done it. He had shown that he has necrophilic tendencies as well.
And desires.
He likes to keep his victims around after they're deceased for a while.
Under the floorboards.
And I think he's called the kindly killer because he kind of like befriends his victims first.
Oh, okay.
And he does come off a little unassuming.
Yeah. I haven't fucking Googled this fucker yet.
So on October 11th, just a few weeks after the bonfire that he did himself to get rid of Stephen Holmes's body.
Yeah.
After that bonfire, it was only a few weeks after that Dennis went out to St. Martin's pub, where he met and started chatting with a young Chinese college student named Andrew Ho.
Okay.
After a few drinks, Dennis convinced Andrew to come back to his apartment with him. He promised him a large amount of money for his company.
He's a scary looking guy.
He is, but he came off unassuming, I think.
No, he looks
came
super
off a little
normal.
like nerdy and just kind of like quiet.
Once you know what you know about somebody, you can't unknow it.
It's true. So he promised Andrew a lot of money for his company. And at the apartment, Dennis poured 2 more drinks, and the conversation turned to the subject of bondage. Andrew informed Dennis that he wouldn't mind being tied up or doing the tying.
Okay.
Now, Dennis agreed, but insisted that he wasn't interested in any sexual intimacy.
Okay.
He was just interested in the bondage
tying
part. This struck Andrew as like a little strange because he was like, okay, this guy invited me back to his apartment. He offered me money for my company, which in my experience leads to one thing.
Yeah.
But instead, Dennis tied a cord around Andrew's feet and told him that he was afraid he might have come there to rob him.
Okay.
Once Andrew's ankles were secured, Dennis grabbed a necktie and wrapped it around Andrew's throat. And he pulled it tightly, and he just started admonishing him for going home with a stranger while he did this.
Oh, that's fucking gross.
Now, had Dennis not loosened his grip at the first sign of panic from Andrew, it seems entirely likely that Andrew would have suffered the same fate as Stephen Holmes.
Absolutely.
But he did. He loosened his grip. He saw Andrew panic. He loosened it a little bit. I don't know what the intention was there. But in that instant, Andrew used the opportunity to like turn out of his grasp, like get himself out. He grabbed a candlestick from the table and hurled it at Dennis. The chaos of all of this also gave him the opportunity to remove the rope from around his ankles, and he ran from the apartment.
That's so scary.
Now,
for all that to happen, like to get away.
Now, about an hour later, the police come knocking on Dennis's door because Andrew had reported the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that was like a big deal for him to like go and report this.
Yeah.
Because he was technically involved in a transfer of money for company,
which is illegal.
Which could get him in trouble.
Yeah.
But he felt it was that important and that serious.
Okay.
Now, despite
because somebody that does this to you is going to do this to other people or likely has already.
And he clearly felt like he was going to go further.
Yeah.
Now, despite the complaint filed against him for assault, the police at Dennis's door seemed completely uninterested in what either of them had to say.
I'm like, same police department that he worked for?
Yep. Dennis told them that they had been drinking, and while it was true he had placed a necktie around Andrew's neck, he insisted he'd only done so because he wanted to show him how dangerous it was to go home with a stranger.
You can't do that, though.
No,
that's actually not allowed.
Like, truly. So after proving his point, Dennis claimed that he threw Andrew out of his apartment, and that was the last time he saw him. He was like, I was just proving a point. And once I told him to get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
And it's like, that's not what he said.
I bet.
Now, given his personal circumstances and all that he stood to lose, Andrew decided not to file a complaint,
formal
like a
charges.
formal complaint against Dennis. Without a complaint, there was nothing the police could do besides just question him. But looking back at this, a lot of activists see the disinterest of law enforcement and the social stigmas around the gay community to have allowed him to continue killing people.
Very much so, yeah.
Like, that was very clearly a big part of this.
You mentioned it in part 1. It sounds a lot like the Jeffrey Dahmer case.
It really does. And it's like
the same exact things played out there.
like this, Andrew ran out of that apartment. He got the police, and the police weren't real. I mean, I guess they questioned him, but that's really all they were interested in doing.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go any further.
And it's like, maybe keep tabs on this guy.
Yeah.
And who's coming and going from the apartment. You know? Like,
Like,
who's going in the apartment and not coming out.
Exactly. Just see what's going on.
Right.
But activist and writer Peter Tatchell wrote, had they done a proper investigation and caught Nilsen, 15 victims might still be alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. The close call with the police probably should have served as like somewhat of a deterrent to him.
But he also saw that he got away with it.
He did. That's the thing. And it should have at least for a while served as one, but it didn't do anything to stop him from finding another man to lure back to his apartment.
Just emboldened
Because
him.
like you said, he saw that he got away with it. In early December 1979, almost a full year after the first murder and just a few months after the incident with Andrew Ho, Canadian tourist Kenneth Ockenden stopped into the West End pub for lunch. Sitting at the bar, Kenneth started talking to the man next to him, Dennis Nilsen, who also happened to be eating alone that day. The conversation must have been pretty good because they spent the next several hours together, and then Kenneth agreed to join Dennis for dinner at his apartment. After dinner, they went out to get a few bottles of liquor and then went back to the apartment to have a few drinks and just listen to some music.
Yeah.
Now, in Kenneth's presence, Dennis felt more relaxed and comfortable than he had in a long time, he said. I guess Kenneth reminded him of his close friend from his days in the service.
Oh.
This guy's name was Derek Collins, his friend.
Okay.
And he just kind of like went back to that time. I think he really, that was the only time he felt kind of like normal.
At ease,
A little bit, yeah. But that said, the pleasantness of this whole night was offset somewhat by the frustrating and very disappointing knowledge that the next morning Kenneth would be headed to the airport to return to Canada.
It's like the knowledge that people have free will.
And get to leave when they want to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like if you had actually had a great evening with him,
It might
you
have
could try
continued.
to connect with him and keep talking. And
But it's
have-
also like, I think he had that experience
Yeah.
once before with was he engaged to the man that
they
from
weren't
part one?
engaged, but they
They
were
were
like, living
long-term.
together.
And
I
then
think
he saw
that's what it is.
it didn't work out.
Yeah. Now, in with a mind that is healthy,
was gonna say.
you could understand that like that happened, but it's not always going to happen.
But he's not
and-
of sound mind.
Now, in his recollection of Kenneth's murder, Dennis Nilsen said, "It must have been well after midnight. All of a sudden, I was dragging him across the floor with a cord around his neck.
All of a sudden,
I was saying, 'Let me listen to the music as well.' He didn't struggle. He was dead."
What?
So he just is like, all of a sudden, boom, cord around his neck, dragging him down, like saying, "Let me listen to the music as well."
That was the part that I was saying, what?
Yeah.
To? Like,
Yep. So he strangled Kenneth. And when he was convinced that he was dead, Dennis removed his clothes and watched his body as he'd done with his previous victims. Then he returned him to his bed where he assaulted the body until he fell asleep.
wow.
Yeah. Now, a few hours later, Dennis cleaned up the mess in his apartment. Then he moved Kenneth's body to a large cupboard in the kitchen, then threw away any evidence that Kenneth had been in his apartment. And in the days after that, Dennis periodically removed Kenneth from the cupboard and dressed him.
Oh.
Decomposition had set in a lot faster than in the case of the Holmes murder. So Nilsen was basically required to, in his mind, to wash the body and apply makeup to hide the natural, like, decomp.
Wouldn't washing the body just make it worse?
It would not
Like submerging it in water?
help, but he's trying.
Okay.
He would then pose the body in various positions around the apartment and take photographs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the case of Stephen Holmes's murder, the body under the floorboards caused Dennis a lot of anxiety and was a source of dread, but also occasional excitement and arousal. This time, though, Dennis's, the body of Dennis's most recent victim, excuse me, he became more of a play. And I'm referring to it as the body because that's what he was using it as.
Right.
He wasn't looking at it as Kenneth anymore. This
Right.
is his body. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't want anybody thinking I'm like not
Being
treating
respectful.
Kenneth as Kenneth. This was no longer who Kenneth was.
Right.
But like I said, with Stephen Holmes, like being under the floorboard, that to Dennis was like very nerve-wracking, it made him anxious a lot, but then he would take Stephen's body out and that would get him all happy again. But this time with Kenneth, he was more of a playmate or a house guest to Dennis
Okay.
than anything else.
And I wonder if that's because he had shared more of a connection, one, it seemed, when they initially
like
met.
more time
and
together.
then two, he had already gotten away with this, so he might have been more emboldened that nobody was going to come knock on the door and interrupt.
So I can
this.
experiment a little more here.
Yeah.
Like at night, while he laid in bed watching television, he would often remove Kenneth's body and lay it across himself. He found like comfort in the weight of him laying there. He was also beginning to show signs of deepening psychosis at this point.
I'd say so.
He said later, Dennis said later, I would sometimes speak to him as though he were still listening. I would compliment him on his looks and anatomy.
What?
And each time when he was done, he would just wrap Kenneth's body tightly in plastic sheeting and put him back under the floorboards of the kitchen or in the cupboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild that, like, while we're living our, like, next to this, I'm going to call our lives, like, normal.
Yeah.
You're just, like, going about your normal activities, and there could be somebody in the world doing this shit.
Yep.
That ever hit you?
Yeah. Like that could be happening right now.
Face? Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah. We're going to go, like, get your kids ready for dance, and somebody else is going to take a body out of their cupboard, dress it up, and watch TV with it.
that you have no idea what anybody is doing in any house that you pass by.
Do you
And
know?
you can't eat in everybody's house.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This show has ruined me because I drive past people's houses all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And just think, what the fuck could be going
What
on
are they doing
there?
in there?
What the fuck could be
Yeah.
going on in there? Because odds are, you drive past a lot of houses in your life. Some weird shit's going down in some of them.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Of course.
This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place. Let's talk about bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, and it doesn't have to be that way. But with SoFi's high-yield checkings and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit. No account or overdraft fees. We love transparency. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, plus get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/morbid. SoFi checking and savings is offered through SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms apply. Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl, or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70. Every good detective needs a partner to support them on important cases. Think of a State Farm agent like your sidekick, there to help you along the way in your search for coverage. State Farm can help you choose the coverage you need, whether it's for your home, car, boat, or even RV. With so many options, it's nice knowing you have help finding what fits for you so you can get back to solving all of life's bigger cases. Go to statefarm.com or use the award-winning app to connect with a local agent and get a quote. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When weeks passed, though, without word from Kenneth, his friends and family started growing concerned.
Yeah, of course.
His mother, Audrey, reported him missing to the Metropolitan Police Force in London and even flew to England to aid in the search.
Wow.
But,
That's a mama.
Right. But just as with the case of Stephen Holmes, there was little evidence to indicate where Kenneth had gone.
Right.
Audrey Ockenden, his mother, said, "He seems to have vanished into thin air." According to the press, the police at Scotland Yard were, quote, reluctant to get involved because Ken Jr. had been missing for less than a month. So much of the search fell to the family, who were unprepared and completely unfamiliar with the city and the country, which is awful that it fell on them to try to find him. Kenneth's father said, "I'll stay until something turns up. We hope every day that there'll be some sort of information."
Oh, that's awful. That's heartbreaking.
Like his family was just like, "I'm not leaving until I find him."
How could you? You
Yeah.
know?
Months passed and the search continued, but nothing much came of it. And despite having kept a very detailed diary of his movements around the city, Kenneth's entries stop on the afternoon of December 2nd, right before he met Dennis Nilsen.
That is haunting.
And there was no indication of what happened or where he went that day. Dennis kept himself company with Kenneth's body for several weeks, but eventually the cold space beneath the floorboards couldn't stop the natural process of decay, so he stopped taking Kenneth's body out of its hiding spot.
Okay.
In the months after this, Dennis carried on with life as usual until May 17th, 1980, when he met 16-year-old Martin Duffy, who was a runaway. A few days earlier, Duffy had left his parents' house, telling them he was just going to the library. But instead he hitchhiked to London. The last time anyone had seen him was the day he arrived in the city and was detained by police for failing to pay a train fee.
Okay.
He had no friends or family in the city, so he spent 4 days sleeping in train stations, surviving on whatever food he could scrounge from the trash. In many ways, he was kind of an ideal victim at this point for someone like Dennis Nilsen.
Yeah.
He came from a troubled home. He had struggled with his parents since reaching his teen years.
Yeah.
He's
not from this area.
Yeah, he's not familiar with this area. He had been picked up by the police for shoplifting on several occasions. And a lot of times, he would stay out all night at the bars around the Liverpool area. So this wasn't like immediately setting off alarm bells.
Yeah.
At one point, Martin's parents had become so frustrated with him that they had him committed to a residential facility for troubled adolescents.
Oh, wow.
And he received psychiatric treatment there. After his discharge from the facility, Martin genuinely seemed to want to turn his life around, even managing to stay off drugs and maintaining a job.
That's great.
By all accounts, things were going well for him until April 1980, when he was picked up by police for fare evasion. He was let go with a warning, but for whatever reason, that incident caused him to backslide into his old habits.
Yeah.
And on May 13th, he packed a small suitcase and left his parents' house for the last time.
Oh.
When he ran into Dennis Nilsen on the night of May 17th, he was bordering on desperate. He had no money, he had no food, nowhere to sleep.
Oh, that makes this a million times more sad.
He was, quite simply and unfortunately, he was the perfect target at this point.
Yeah.
By the time they got back to Dennis's apartment, Martin was already exhausted and wasn't likely to remain awake for very much longer. And so they sat on the couch and chatted. But after just 2 beers, Martin said he was tired and wanted to go to sleep. So Dennis offered him the bed. A short time after that, Dennis crept into the bedroom and attacked Martin. Nilsen later said, "I remember sitting astride him. I strangled him with great force in the almost pitch darkness with just one side light on underneath." He said when he felt him go limp, he carried him from the bed to the kitchen, where he filled the sink with water and held Martin Duffy's head under it until the bubbles stopped coming to the surface.
My God.
He said, "I must have held him there for about 3 or 4 minutes." Like,
That's a long time.
and out of nowhere, you just get up and strangle this boy.
This poor kid.
Once he was convinced that Martin was dead, he laid him out on the floor and undressed him, then carried him to the bathroom and placed his body in the bathtub. After the last 2 murders, Dennis washed the bodies in the bathtub. This time, though, He also removed his own clothes and got into the tub and bathed along with his victim.
What?
Yeah. When he was finished, he returned Martin's body to the living room and placed it in a chair where he could just admire it.
What the fuck?
He said, I talked to him and mentioned that his body was the youngest looking I'd ever seen.
That's absolutely
That's a
disgusting.
direct
So he's
quote.
a pedophile
Yeah.
now. Wow,
Now-
necrophiliac, murderer, pedophile.
You
can't get
he's
worse.
everything. Initially, Dennis kept Martin Duffy's body in the kitchen cupboard, but after 2 days, decomposition had significantly disfigured his remains, so he placed his body under the floorboards and left it there. In the days that followed, he threw away Martin's clothing, his suitcase, and other belongings, erasing any sign that he had been in his apartment at all. It's like he just disappeared.
Did he eventually burn Kenneth's body, or were Kenneth's remains still under
He
the
was still under the
floorboards, too?
floorboards.
I'm wondering, like, is that apartment starting to smell?
I'm sure it is. Now, when Dennis met Stephen Holmes at the pub in December 1978, it's reasonable to assume he hadn't intended at that moment to murder him. I think he just didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But by committing that first murder, he had indulged his darkest fantasy. I think
Yeah.
at that point it was a fantasy to him, a dark fantasy.
But he made it.
But he didn't plan, I think, that one far ahead of time,
Right.
you know?
But now he's premeditating.
But now he's indulged his
hunting.
darkest fantasy, and there's been no negative consequence.
Yeah.
At all.
And if anything,
Yeah.
there's been subtle cues to keep going.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, following that murder, he claimed he'd made a promise to himself, the first murder, Stephen, that he said he was never going to let that happen again.
Right. And then he did 3 more
But
times.
just a few months later, he very likely tried to murder Andrew Ho. This is all to say that he might not have intended or even desired at the time to become a killer. But once he had done the first murder and gotten away with it, that desire and
He
his
couldn't
urges
stop.
and his fantasies, it just overruled any moral qualms that he may have had with these acts. And it just took him over.
Because I'm not saying he's insane, but he's not living in reality.
No, something is very off here.
Something's broken.
You know what it is? He's just deeply entrenched in dark fantasy because
Right.
that's all he's done his entire life is isolate and live in a fantasy world. Now, over the course of the next 6 months, he would go on to murder 5 more men. Only one has ever been identified of those 5 men. Yeah.
That's horrible.
In August of that year, he met Billy Sutherland, a drifter from Scotland who supported himself primarily through sex work. Although he wasn't like Nilsen's other victims in a physical sense, like he was older, he was covered in tattoos, just different physically.
Sure.
His background and marginalized status made him an ideal target for Dennis Nilsen. Sutherland had a history of petty crime, stealing to get by whenever he couldn't find work, and he rarely stayed in one place for long. That's kind of what he was
very
looking
transient.
for. Sutherland met Dennis at a pub near Piccadilly Circus, and the two men spent the night going from one bar to another until closing time. Now, at the end of the night, Sutherland mentioned that he had nowhere to go, so Dennis was like, hey, come back to my apartment. Later, Dennis claimed to have no recollection of killing Billy Sutherland.
Interesting, because that happened with the
Yeah.
last victim, too.
Yep.
It's just like all of a sudden they're dead.
He only remembers that he, quote, strangled him from the front and that there was a dead body in the morning, quote.
Okay.
Given how forthcoming Dennis was about his other crimes, it's likely he might actually be telling the truth here.
Okay.
Because I don't understand why just one he doesn't remember.
Yeah, why he's so forthcoming with some and
I
not
don't know.
others.
A few weeks later, Billy Sutherland's mother reported him missing to the police and the Salvation Army, but he was just one of hundreds of men who'd gone missing from London over the years, 41 of whom were named Billy Sutherland.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
actually wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Also, given his lifestyle and criminal history, particularly sex work, the case wasn't given high priority, especially in that time period.
It's so shitty,
It's
but it
that whole,
happens so
they consider
frequently.
them less dead.
Yeah. That still happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it had been, no one would have thought to look for him under the floorboards of Dennis Nilsen's apartment.
No.
It just there's nothing connecting him to him.
No.
Now, in the months after the Billy Sutherland's murder, Dennis's drinking continued to spiral out of control.
Which I'm sure only is making
Didn't
his
make things better.
fantasies and lack of touch with reality worse.
Exactly. No, during the day, he was able to maintain his employment and keep up appearances. But at night, the alcohol blotted out all the darker parts of his personality.
That's the other crazy thing. You have to think he's doing all of this. He's getting this drunk, and then he's just going to work.
And going to work. Going to work and talking to people while having bodies in his floorboards.
Because he's like he's like a job search consultant, right? Like that's what?
Like, what? Now, between September and December, he would murder 4 more men, all in more or less the same way as everybody else had been killed. They would meet at one pub or another, and after a few drinks, Dennis would invite the man back to his apartment, where they would listen to music or watch a movie while they continued drinking. Once his guest had been subdued or incapacitated from alcohol, Dennis would climb on top of him, straddle him, strangle him with a cord or a necktie, and then when the man was dead, he would wash the body, spend as much time as possible before decomposition set in, and after that happened, he would store the body under the floorboards and set out to find a new victim.
He's just keeping everybody in the floorboards at this point.
It's wild. And these victims, when I say he killed 4 men, he killed 5 men, they remain unidentified to this day, unfortunately, or I would have given names. Throughout this period, he started compartmentalizing in a way that allowed him to continue killing without hesitation.
Yeah.
And without interrupting his appearance of normality.
Which is
like he
nuts.
could literally, he's a very interesting case of compartmentalization. Because he can really put it over here and just be a totally normal person at work.
Yeah.
Like, really scary. He would later say, I never thought of them again at work until I came home that evening. That's how much he could compartment. I think some people, especially evil people, or people that are deeply, deeply fucked up, they can literally separate parts of their brain, I think. And they can just put it over here and it's not there.
I once had a therapist told me I was really good at compartmentalizing.
I mean, trauma can make you really good at compartmentalizing
but
as well.
Even to like I know that I'm good at compartmentalizing, but to that degree, like I can't. I can't imagine compartmentalizing that.
I'm extraordinary at compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And like, not to toot my own horn, I don't think it's necessarily always a good thing.
No.
So
honestly, in fact, a lot of times
it's very bad. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just some brains can do it, some can't. But I think to this extent, there needs to be some deeply, deeply fucked up parts of you that allow you, because I can compartmentalize things that I think, like things.
Well, a lot of times compartmentalizing is tied in with survival.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I can compartmentalize to be like, you know what, that's not helping me be productive here, so I'm going to put it over there.
Same here, yeah.
He's compartmentalizing
so he can continue on in this
deeds.
Dark fantasy, but still, be part of like day-to-day society.
Exactly,
which is crazy.
To go to work and not think about the bodies under your floorboards.
I can't conceive
like
of that.
I can't
wild, conceive of that.
But I can't conceive of anything he's doing. So
no,
it's like,
exactly.
They're such different species of human. You know what I mean? Like they're such a different subsect of human.
It's so funny. I meant to mention this earlier. Remember when we were getting our nails done the other day and we were watching that video about the climber, the guy who just recently climbed.
Alex, he just climbed that skyscraper.
Let me look it up really quick.
Netflix.
Hold on. But I was just thinking when they did that MRI on his brain and they saw that his amygdala like doesn't respond to fear like a typical amygdala actually does. Yeah. I really do think it would be so fascinating to do more MRIs on serial killers because if like this person who's literally just like very interested in adventure and climbing, their amygdala works that certain way, there's got to be something part of a serial killer's brain or like a person like this, their brain that does not fire like a typical brain fires. Yeah.
I also thought that was really interesting to watch. I did not think I was going to be interested.
I'm not going to lie. His name is Alex Honnold. I was literally talking shit about it before we started watching it. I was like, why would I watch that? Yeah. Couldn't stop.
Yeah. Alex, what is it?
Honnold.
He climbed like a skyscraper in
Tempe.
Yeah. I was like, it begins with a T. He like free climbed it.
Yeah.
With like no rope or anything. It was live on Netflix and John and I.
Remarkable thing.
We turned, I know we're going off on a tangent right now, but this is what you come for. But I can't help it. This is how my brain works. But John and I were turning on something. Oh, we were turning on Frankenstein on Netflix, I remember. And I opened it and that was on the homepage. It was like live when he was actually climbing it live. And I was like, what is this? And we were like, let's just see it for a second. And we were like, this is crazy.
Why would you watch
We put it on. We watched it till the end. I had to watch him get to the tippity top. I was fascinated by it.
He did it in less than 2 hours. Yeah. And it's
no ropes.
It's
nothing.
called Taipei 101. It's a Taiwanese skyscraper, and it's the 11th tallest building in the world. But
highly recommend watching it. It was very interesting.
It was really good. And then I actually do want to finish it. We didn't get to.
The documentary.
The documentary, I'm trying to find what it's called. I think it won an Oscar recently.
Isn't it called like Free Solo or something? It's about Alex free solo climbing El Capitan, which is like one of the craziest rocks.
Free Solo, good call.
Free Solo, yeah.
But that part where they do scan his brain, I wanted to bring it up on the pod because I do just think that's really fascinating.
It is.
And I think we could really get somewhere.
Yes.
And, maybe we could possibly treat serial killers someday if we figure out what in their brain is going wrong.
Stop them before it could get to a certain point. Maybe you can start, because the whole point that I just want us to get to sometime is to get to the point where we are stopping them before it even gets to a point where it even starts becoming an issue. Like, recognize it when they're a kid and be able to treat that ahead of time so it never becomes even slightly in fruition.
Yeah, like, because there's got to be something different.
Yeah, because Dennis said once he was in his apartment, it was like he was in an entirely different world.
Interesting.
He would leave that day job and it was totally different world.
It's wild.
He said, I remember being thrilled that I had full control and ownership of this beautiful body. I was fascinated by the mystery of death. Okay. Which, like, cool, you're fascinated by death. That's okay.
Go to the body farm.
Go do something
in the death
good
industry.
With it. Like, go do something that can help people. Or, like, what are you doing, sir?
Hey, you're killing people.
Like, he wants complete dominion over somebody else's entire existence.
Yeah.
It's very Jeffrey Dahmer-esque. I would be very interested, and maybe we should do it at some point, to compare and contrast the two of them.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have the same desperate need to keep because Jeffrey Dahmer said the same thing. He said, I just wanted them to stay. He would do anything for them to stay. And that's not saying that like, oh, these they just wanted them to stay. Like there's something so off in their brain that they're like, no, I want them to stay and I will literally do anything to keep them staying.
Right.
Whether they want to or not. Right. That's the important
thing.
I
don't care about a person's autonomy.
Yeah, I don't want them to have autonomy. Like Jeffrey Dahmer tried to create zombies.
Like, that's what I was actually just going to bring up. Yeah. And we're only in part 2. Does Dennis Nilsen ever do that?
He doesn't go full Jeffrey Dahmer.
So I guess that's the contrast there. Yeah. But I wonder even what that is about, where it's like Jeffrey Dahmer almost wanted to make these people alive again in a certain way, whereas Dennis Nilsen is just happy with
he likes to turn them into dolls.
Dolls, yeah.
Which it's a similar...
It is similar.
Pathology in a way, because regardless of what... It's a different mechanism or pathway that they're taking to get there. But either way, they want to end with complete control of the person.
Right.
One of them is just trying to make it so that they're more
animated.
To be animated. There you go. And then Dennis is just saying, "Well, I'll just put them where I want to put them," and that's how I'll have control.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we would find more comparisons than contrasts.
I think so. But in September 1981, Dennis was returning home from work when he spotted 24-year-old Malcolm Barlow. Like many of Dennis's victims, Barlow looked very young for his age, and he'd led a very difficult life. Both of Malcolm's parents had died when he was young, and he was raised in a rotating selection of foster homes and residential facilities.
That's awful.
In addition to cognitive and developmental disorders, he also suffered from epilepsy, which... he generally lacked the capacity and resources to manage without any help.
Yeah.
Which is so sad.
That's tough to manage with help.
Yeah. He wasn't really able to maintain employment for very long, so he would have to turn to sex work to get by a lot of times. And sometimes he would just like, he was kind of desperate for money most of the time and desperate to like get by and just get food in his mouth and shelter at times. So sometimes he would go as far as like blackmailing the men he slept with in order to extort money out of them. Okay. It's just part of like a whole con thing.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Yeah. Now on the morning of September, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying
not good, but that happens.
It was part of like that craziness.
Yeah, it's like the desperation.
On the morning of September 17th, Dennis left his apartment for work, and he'd only made it a few houses down the street when he came upon Malcolm Barlow. He was sitting on the sidewalk with his back against a stone wall. Dennis stopped to see if he was all right, and Barlow explained that the pills he'd taken for his epilepsy had made him dizzy and his legs had given out beneath him. Oh. Dennis helped Barlow to his feet and brought him back to his apartment, where he fixed him a cup of tea and called for an ambulance. You might be seeing why he's called the kindly killer.
Okay.
With these kind of things. The ambulance came a short time later. And once Barlow had been taken away, Dennis went to work and thought nothing more of this incident.
It's really weird that like empathy was shown there.
That's the thing.
Like that's not
He's a strange
common.
cat. He's a strange cat.
Don't even call him a cat. Get out of here. You know that feeling when you come home late from work and those puppy dog eyes just pierce right through your soul? Or when you're packing for a trip and your cat refuses to leave your suitcase? Yeah, we've all been there. Pet parent guilt is real. And you know what? It's completely normal. That's exactly why Hill's Pet Nutrition exists. They understand that being a pet parent means being human, with all of our imperfections and daily juggling acts. Hill's science-led nutrition helps you give more love than humanly possible. Whether it's those long work days or trying to balance attention between multiple pets, Hill's Pet Nutrition gets it. They've created science-based nutrition that supports your pet's lifelong health, so you can feel confident even when life gets hectic. Because you're only human, there's Hill's. Science does more. Ready to let go of the guilt? Find the right food at hillspet.com/podcast. That's hillspet.com/podcast. Do you remember in school when you just knew that your teacher had a favorite of everything? They would always use the same blue dry erase marker when they wrote on the board, or they would talk nonstop about their favorite element during science. I had a teacher once that literally had a favorite brand of marker. She would only write with specific markers, and if another marker ended up in her classroom, she was TO'd. And honestly, I was probably her favorite student because at the end of the year, I got her that specific brand of marker. Let's talk about their real favorite thing though, their favorite tissue brand. Kleenex. According to Teacher List, they are the #1 facial tissue trusted by teachers. Kleenex Ultra Soft tissues are silky soft to help prevent skin irritation, and now you can take them anywhere with Kleenex Snap and Go. I absolutely love Kleenex Snap and Go. It's so perfect to have that in your car. I had a cold last week and I was just... Honey, my nose was a faucet. I hate to do this to you, but it was disgusting. Drew literally came out of our garage with like 15 of the Kleenex Snap and Goes, and I put those in my glove compartment, and honey, they were easy access. It was so nice knowing that I didn't have to blow my nose into like an old wrapper that I had. Ew. So do the best thing for your kids' teachers and stock up on the ultimate classroom favorite. Maybe it'll make them their teacher's favorite student. They definitely have a favorite. Don't even get me started because again, you know it was me. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex. The best summer pieces are the ones you end up wearing on repeat. Comfortable, versatile, and somehow right for almost every occasion. Quince makes it easy to create a summer wardrobe that you'll love, with elevated essentials made from premium materials like European linen, organic cotton, and washable silk, without the traditional retail markup. I love that! Quince's 100% European linen pants, dresses, and tops are the pieces that you absolutely will reach for all summer long. I absolutely love their linen. I have so many pairs of their linen pants, which you can dress up or you can dress down in the summer. Like, say you're going to a nice dinner, you can pair it with like a silk shirt, a really cute necklace, some good, makeup and an updo. Or if you're just looking for a more casual look, you can do the linen pants with like a loose button-up shirt and you still look really chic, kind of like, I don't know, Diane Keaton vibes, I kind of think. Also, it's not just apparel. Quince also offers elevated essentials for your home, from bedding and bath to kitchen essentials and furniture. They have it all, honey. I am a big lover of Quince, and I really do think you will be too. Make your summer wardrobe feel easier. Go to quince.com/morbid for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/morbid for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/morbid.
The next day, when Barlow was released from the hospital, he returned to Dennis's apartment and sat down on the steps to wait for him to return from work.
Oh, man.
When he arrived home, Dennis was surprised to see him sitting there, assuming he would still be in the hospital, but he invited him inside. That evening, Dennis made dinner for both of them, and they just sat on the couch together, watching television, drinking rum and Coke, just hanging out.
Yeah.
After 2 drinks, Barlow passed out. Dennis slapped him in the face, thinking he was having another episode. And he would need to call an ambulance again. But instead, he just sat in the chair thinking about what he should do.
Okay.
Until that point, Dennis's murders had been definitely psychosexually motivated.
Yes.
For sure. And again, very loosely planned.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of sloppy, kind of just of the moment.
Yeah.
But in the case of Malcolm Barlow, the murder was not planned and it wasn't really motivated like by anything sexual. It was really just like in Dennis Nilsen's mind that he presented an inconvenience for him.
Oh?
For the second time in 2 days, this stranger had, according to Dennis, interrupted his life. And here he is again, needing to possibly provide emergency care for someone he didn't know. This is according to Dennis.
Yeah, of course. I take back what I said about empathy.
Yeah. And given the events of that day, who's to say Barlow wouldn't be discharged from the hospital and show up at Dennis's apartment again and start the cycle over again? Again, this is according to Dennis.
Yes.
This is where his wild mind goes, is not, oh, I helped this guy and I did a good thing.
Right.
And then this guy showed back up thinking I'm a safe place because I did that for him and just wanted to hang out for a little while. He's like, no, now he's just going to rely on me.
Yeah.
So instead of calling the ambulance or police to have Barlow removed from his house, because he's still not sure if he's having an episode or if he just passed out, Dennis made the deliberate decision to just get rid of him. He said later, putting my hands around his throat, I squeezed tightly. I held that position for about 2 or 3 minutes and released my hold. I didn't check, but I believed him to be now dead. So with Barlow now dead, Dennis put him in the cupboard where he'd stashed all the others. And then he returned to the couch, he finished his drink, and went to bed.
Wow.
Just that casually.
It's interesting, too, because I don't know if I'm right here, but that's the first time he's manually strangled somebody.
Yeah, it seems like he's using like a necktie or a cord.
Yeah, so it's interesting that he was like irritated beforehand and then manually strangled.
Mm-hmm. Like that is an interesting little difference.
Yeah.
So by the time he put Barlow's body in the cupboard, Nilsen's apartment had become so crowded with dead bodies that he needed to do something about it or risk his neighbors catching on to what was happening. That's how many bodies were in his apartment.
I'm surprised it could even get past a certain point. Like that we're only now reaching that point.
Well, it was in the colder months, the decomposition had been stalled.
Right.
But with the warmer weather, the bodies under the floors started decomposing at a rapid rate. And with that process came the inevitable odors and bugs.
Oh, no.
Yes. He had tried to hide the evidence of death by covering the bodies with deodorizer spray and insecticide.
Oh, my.
But those did very little to mask the obvious.
Not insecticide.
Further complicating things was the fact that just a few weeks earlier, his landlord had informed him they were going to be renovating the entire building and were asking everyone to move out. At first, Dennis resisted, but when the landlord offered him like a good sum of money to leave before the end of the lease, he happily accepted.
Okay.
One night in late September 1981, just a few days before he was moving out of the building on Melrose Avenue, Dennis Nilsen removed the bodies from their hiding spaces one by one and dismembered what was left of the remains. A relatively easy process, given how much time had passed in the decomposition. Once that was complete, he carried the remains out to the bonfire in the back garden where he disposed of Stephen Holmes's body and burned what was left of his victims in a roaring fire. In order to disguise the smell of burning human remains,
I was going to ask that.
He threw an old tire into the pit, hoping the smell of burning rubber would ward off any questions.
Oh, I feel like that would make it even worse.
It absolutely did, but he could just say it's the tire.
Okay.
Now, in October, Dennis left the apartment on Melrose Avenue and moved into a small attic apartment on Cranley Gardens. You might remember that from part 1, in London's Muswell Hill neighborhood. The layout and location of the apartment immediately presented a problem for Dennis because it had no private garden and was an attic unit, so there was no space between the floorboards. It is maybe because of those factors that Dennis would ultimately wait several months before committing another murder.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't like he didn't think about killing in this time. Like, that wasn't like he just was like, you know what, I'm not going to be that person. And he even came pretty close one night in late November. On the afternoon of November 23rd, he met 19-year-old Paul Nobbs, a student of European studies at a local bookstore. They chatted for a short time before Dennis invited him back to his apartment for dinner, and he agreed. After Dennis prepared dinner, they sat on the couch and watched television while having a few drinks, the normal thing he does.
Mm-hmm.
After one or two drinks, Nobbs called his mother to say he'd be home soon. He was only 19.
Oh.
But a short time later, he began feeling ill and called again to say he was instead going to stay the night with a friend.
Oh, no.
The next morning, when Nobbs woke up, he was very hungover.
I'm actually surprised he woke up. He made it through the night there.
So he staggered to the bathroom, and when he looked in the mirror, he saw he had a deep red mark around his neck and some bruising.
Oh.
Though he had no recollection of what had happened or what could have caused the injury.
So he was likely drugged.
Yeah. Before leaving, Dennis gave Nobbs his phone number and told him he should go see a doctor because he looked terrible.
What?
After leaving, Paul stumbled down the street to a local pub where he ran into one of his friends from school, and the other man helped him get to the University College Hospital nearby. Upon being examined, the emergency room doctor informed Nobbs that, quote, his symptoms were consistent with a classic case of strangulation.
Yeah.
He was given some tranquilizers and told to go home and rest, which he did. Ultimately, it took about 5 days before he was well enough to leave his apartment, but the mark on his neck remained for nearly 3 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He never reported the incident to the police, and when the doctor asked what happened, he said he'd been mugged.
Okay.
Now, maybe his inability to store the body somewhere in the apartment prevented Dennis from fully murdering Paul Nobbs.
It's crazy, though, to think that obviously he started strangling him
Yeah.
and stopped at some point. The fact that he stopped is not something we come across very often.
No, and the way, like, how deep that was and how, like, intense that was, he obviously stopped and started a few times, I think. That's probably why he took so long to recover, because I wonder, like, lack of oxygen to the brain and all that.
That's
Like,
really scary.
He probably, it's awful. But this might be why Paul Nobbs lived, is because he had nowhere to store his body.
Right.
Which is horrifying to think of.
Like, that's the
So if he
only
had
reason.
somewhere to put you, you were going to be gone. But whatever the case, Dennis's, little pause on, like, moratorium on murdering people wouldn't last very long. In early March 1982, Dennis was drinking at St. Martin's Lane when he saw a face he recognized from the pub a few months earlier. Like many of Dennis's victims, John Howlett had a long history with the police, and after being kicked out of his parents' house at age 13, he'd struggled to support himself, frequently resorting to petty crime.
How do you kick a 13-year-old
I know.
out?
It makes me so sad. It really does. Dennis met John at the pub in December, not long after he moved to Cranley Gardens, but he didn't invite him back to his apartment that night that he had met him. At St. Martin's Lane, John pulled up a chair next to Dennis at the bar and ordered a drink. But when the bartender took too long to return, John suggested they leave and go find somewhere else with better service. Dennis agreed, but rather than find another bar, he was like, let's go back to my apartment and I can make us some dinner.
Yeah.
So they went back.
Yeah.
But around 1 a.m., John excused himself, implying that he was going to the bathroom. When he failed to return after 10 or 15 minutes, Dennis went to look for him and found the man asleep in his bed.
Oh.
Because remember, he's been kicked out of his house since he was 13.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't have a whole lot of places to stay. He's probably just tired.
Yeah. And also, I think there's a very high likelihood with how fast these people are passing out that he's drugging them.
So Dennis roused him and suggested he call a cab to take him home. And John said, no, thank you. And he was like, I'm too tired to leave, which
Also,
does suggest drugging.
That's Dennis Nilsen's version of events, too. That he's
Exactly.
like, I tried to get him to leave.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it. Like Malcolm Barlow, John represented a change in Dennis's pattern. Although he had picked the man up at a bar, it seems like he had no interest in engaging in sex with him or killing him, which is two of the things he usually wants to do when he picks someone up. In fact, he had, according to him, and according to all accounts, he had tried to get John out of the house a few times that night. And John's refusal to leave and inability to leave is what I think it was, not straight out refusal.
Right.
It had, according to Dennis, so profoundly irritated him that he ended up, for the second time really that we can point to, killing out of pure anger.
Okay.
Other than his usual motive. According to Dennis, he said, I went to the armchair and under the cushion there was a length of loose upholstery strap. I wound this material around his neck. I think I said, it's about time you went.
Oh.
When he says, I think I said, it's about time you went, think about that in your head, how fucking scary that is.
Yeah.
This man is about to strangle you and saying, I think it's about time you went.
Yeah.
That's just so like gross. Like it's so
scary.
cold.
Yeah.
He said using all of his strength, he pulled hard on the strap as he straddled John, causing him to wake with a shock because he's asleep when he did this. For the most part, Dennis's victims were younger than he was and generally smaller in stature. So he liked that. He wanted to easily overpower them.
Right.
John Howlett, on the other hand, was a former military guardsman and was obviously larger and more powerful than Dennis.
Definitely.
Dennis later said he fought back furiously and partially raised himself up. I thought I'd be overpowered. The two of them fought violently on the bed for a short time until John hit his head on the headboard, causing him to lose consciousness.
Oh, no.
Once he was no longer struggling, Dennis dragged him to the bathroom and began filling the tub. After hoisting his body over the edge, he held his head under the water for nearly 10 minutes.
Holy
until
shit.
he was certain that John Howlett was dead.
My God.
Dennis left his body hanging over the edge of the tub and then just returned to bed and went to sleep.
What?
These are the parts of these stories that obviously killing another human being is unthinkable, but then these
Going about your
strange
night.
aftermaths are the things that really get me.
Like he just finishes his dinner or his
and he
drink
just leaves him hanging over the edge of the tub and then just gets in his bed and goes to sleep.
Meanwhile, I actually can't sleep on my right side because if I do, my back is to an open space in my room and I'm too afraid of the unknown there.
Yeah.
And this man's just going to sleep with a dead body that he just killed in his bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of ghosts in my home.
Yeah.
And this man is just doing that.
I can't go to bed with a full sink of dishes, of dirty dishes.
You know what?
That gets me.
I applaud that.
Yeah, that gets me.
I applaud
I
that.
will have trouble going to sleep knowing because I will think about that dirty sink full of dishes and I'll be like, I'm going to have to do that tomorrow and I can't do it. Yeah. I can't do it. Wow. John's the same way.
This man
is going to bed with a young man who he just brutally murdered, his body hanging over the side of the bath in his bathroom. I just can't, my brain will not wrap around
because
human beings. And I mean, lately I feel like in the world right now, my brain is struggling with humans lately.
Good, though.
I'm just sitting there being like, I don't understand how people are like this. I don't understand how as a species, we are this fucking horrific.
We really
I really can't. And I don't get how some of us aren't. But some of us are.
I mean.
I'm like, where
That's
did that
what I
come
mean
from,
about the
babe?
brains. We gotta.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's because how are we so different? I don't ever want to think that anyone has the capacity to do this.
Unfortunately, a lot of people have the
That's
capacity
the thing
to
with
do
so
this.
many people have the capacity to do this, and it's really scary to think about when you really deeply go down that road.
A lot of men have the capacity to
Yeah,
do this.
this is just.
I also think studying the difference between men and women's brains would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Just because obviously
For
women
many
are killers, but there are women killers, but there are so many more male killers.
Of course.
So it makes you wonder, is there something in a man's brain that is more likely to set off and
make
what
this
is happen? And I don't know,
Yeah, it just
brains, man.
because you could it's killing someone is such a something you can't wrap your brain around. You just can't. Like snuffing out someone else's life.
No. I
can't
have
put my
dreams
brain around
sometimes
it.
where I've killed somebody or I find out that I've killed somebody and I like feel the guilt in those dreams of like, how am I supposed, like nightmares,
How am I
should say.
supposed to go
How am I
on?
supposed to go on? And like, I can't believe I've just done that.
But then it's like the smaller, like relatively, like in comparison acts of like leaving the body in your apartment while you just go to sleep that I'm like, that shit is up a register. It's just like, because it's just like, what? And now you're just going about your business? Yeah. I just don't, or just going to sleep with a dead body in your apartment?
I can't go to sleep if I like think I've been rude to somebody throughout the day.
Like, I could
the guilt I feel for like the smallest interaction versus snuffing out someone's life. I can't imagine.
Or like being in the Lizzie Borden house. Knowing that people were murdered in those rooms, I was so fucking scared of being in those rooms because I'm like, and that was from like a billion years ago. Somebody was killed in this room and they are no longer there. Yeah. Like physically there. And it's like,
neither is the person who killed them.
And I was so freaked out just to be in that. I was like, oh my God, like they're here.
No,
like,
me too.
And these people are just going to sleep with a dead body in the room.
Yep.
And then they just have no fear response. It really is. I'm like, what is your amygdala doing? Like, I gotta know.
I don't know. Because it's in the amygdala and it's in so many other places too. I think actually a fun bonus episode idea would be to look at the different parts of the brain and what they're responsible for and how it relates to crime and
that would
decision making in general.
That's a good bonus episode idea. Yeah, it's horrifying. Now, no longer able to hide the body in the cupboard or under the floorboards again because he's in that little attic, and he couldn't dispose of it in the garden. He dismembered John Howlett's remains and wrapped them tightly in plastic. And then he placed them in various discreet places around his apartment.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, not knowing what else to do with the rest of John Howlett's body, he flushed the organs down the toilet. And other small pieces of flesh. He also boiled John Howlett's head, hands, and feet.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember how part 1 opened. So.
Yep. So Dennis Nilsen's first set of murders committed at the Melrose Avenue apartment had all seemed to go more or less according to how he had planned them, or barely planned them, I guess. But beginning with Malcolm Barlow's murder right before he left the apartment, he appeared to have been becoming more erratic and impulsive.
Frenzied.
He was killing not out of like some kind of pathological need to. He was just doing it when the opportunity presented itself. Yeah. And this is going to prove to be his undoing.
That's good.
And we're going to end part 2 right there.
Okay.
Because I can't really talk about any more dismembered parts right now.
Okay.
And I'd like everyone to sit with that one.
And just know that he gets caught in the next
He
part.
does get caught, and he takes some more lives before he gets caught, but he does get caught.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
This is the cutest fun fact I've ever heard in my life, and now I love knowing this. Dogs tilt their heads when you speak to them to better pinpoint familiar words.
You know that I know that?
I am obsessed. I try to get Dolores to tilt her head when I talk.
They are actively listening to you when they do that.
I'm obsessed with that. This is from Science Focus, and it says, your dog is tilting its head when you speak to pinpoint where noises are coming from more quickly.
Yeah.
This is done to listen out more accurately for familiar words, such as walkies, and helps them better understand the tone of your voice. If a dog doesn't tilt its head that often, as those with shorter muzzles might, it's because it relies less on sound and more on sight.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that.
You know where I heard that?
Tell me.
The girls watch this show called Brainchild. I probably mentioned it on here before, but if you didn't hear me mention it, it was on there and they loved that fact. They'll tell you that fact all day long.
I'm surprised they haven't.
Brainchild is a great show on Netflix for your kids to watch, by the way.
Is that
you're looking
the one
for something
where they did that hearing test and it showed that like older people don't hear certain frequencies and you and I literally crashed the fuck out about it?
I remain crashing out about that.
Yeah, I was not in a flow state
but,
that day.
But Brainchild Really good for kids. My kids love it. They've learned a lot of cool like science stuff.
Yeah, they're always telling us cool facts. I'm obsessed with that.
I love that fact.
If I speak in a higher pitch, Dolo always does that. And now I know what's happening and I love it so much.
I love that.
I love dogs and I love cats and I love animals.
I love them.
I'm going to be one of those old ladies with like a fucking like farm.
Good.
Like shit tons of animals.
Let's go, girls.
I want to be. All right. Well, I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with you guys. Wash your hands. Don't kill people.
Don't do anything.
Don't spread disease. And fuck ice.
Yeah.
All right. We hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
keep it weird. But not so weird that you keep people in your apartment.
Yeah.
But don't want to be there anymore.
No, let people have autonomy.
Let people out of your apartment if they'd like to go. Gosh darn.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find a pro for your project at Angie.com.
Your phone is your lifeline. Calling your kid to say goodnight, waiting on a job callback, or just sending a meme to your best friend when it's been that kind of day. Wherever life takes you, the TextNow app keeps you connected for free. Get a real phone number, unlimited talk and text, and 5G data for your favorite apps, all for $0 a month. No fixed contracts, no hidden fees, no panic when bills pile up, just phone service that's there when it matters most. TextNow, we've got your back. Download TextNow in your app store today. Wireless plans require the purchase of a SIM card. Visit textnow.com for terms and conditions.